looking forward to this week's trip to the CSA. After all, I'm practically an appliance myself. Then we'll find out about modems. But first, here's why light bulbs burn out. Cue, darling.
The light bulb celebrated its 100th birthday in 1979. Although there are other ways to get light, the incandescent lamp is still the most popular. I looked up the word ubiquitous in the dictionary. It means present everywhere. By that definition, even air doesn't qualify. And light bulbs do, at least on Earth. Do you have any idea how many light bulbs have been manufactured since 1879?
No!
Neither do I. And every once in a while, someone tries to tell me that someone, somewhere, has invented a light bulb that will last forever. Of course, as the story goes, all the big light bulb manufacturers got together and had that person killed. There is no secret to making a light bulb last for a very long time. It's just a silly idea. Get out of here. The basic 50-cent light bulb is optimized for economy, and the short-lived model gives the most light for the least amount of electricity. This is basic incandescence. I'm forcing a current through this fine wire filament. The wire glows and gives off heat. At this rate, it'll last for quite some time. I'm going to make a little design change here. It'll give off more light, but it fails quickly. Now, in my example, the wire broke because it got soft and it could no longer support its own weight. Also, the wire is exposed to the oxygen in the air around it, and it burned. Boom, 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 boom. In a real light bulb, the fine wire filament has supports for its weight, and it's in an oxygen-free atmosphere, so it can't burn. It lasts forever.
Hogwash!
Well, the thing that eventually does in the light leaves its clue on the inside of the bulb. This dark spot is caused by metal that boiled off the filament and condensed on the inside of the glass. You can tell which way a bulb was burned by where that dark spot shows up. As more metal boils away, the wire gets thinner and thinner till it can no longer hang together and it breaks. The best time to smack a light bulb, incidentally, is when it's off. When it's on, the filament is near its molten state and it's pretty fragile. Now, the way to make a light bulb last for a very long time is to engineer it to burn cooler. Simply dimming it will do. There are various long life versions on the market, but long light bulbs come with a curse: inefficiency. So to get the most light for your money, you want the filament to burn as hot as possible. With that comes a shorter life. Now, unless you don't pay for electricity, the short-lived bulbs are the best light buy. An incandescent lamp that beats the run-hot, short-life phenomenon is the tungsten halogen lamp. If you're over 30 years old, you might know it as the quartz iodine lamp. These theoretically last forever, although my left headlight wasn't aware of this fact. The tungsten halogen lamp is an incandescent lamp designed to operate at really high temperatures. Because of the higher temperatures, the glass is a quartz compound. The original halogen inside was iodine. Nowadays, other halogens are used. Bromine and chlorine are halogens. The effect of the halogen atmosphere is to recombine boiled tungsten back onto the filament, so the filament never really gets thin. Asking tungsten halogen bulb experts why they fail is always good for a laugh. Some insist that it's the failure of the seals where the wires enter the glass that kills them, and others will look at a burned-out tungsten halogen lamp and flatly deny that it happened. There are two sure ways to kill them. One is touch them with your fingers. The glass bulb runs at very high temperatures, and those finger oils plus high temperatures mean disaster. The other sure way to kill one is by operating at too low a temperature. Lamps that haven't been burned hot enough go black and die because the halogen effect relies on high temperatures. The tungsten halogen lamp hasn't made a big splash in residential lighting because of the high temperatures involved. There are a few household fixtures designed for them, though. And the tungsten halogen lamp gives the most light per watt of any incandescent lamp, and it lasts the longest, too, which is a good thing because they're bloody expensive. I walked home from the service station realizing I just paid $50 for a light bulb, which brings me back to Old Faithful. You're getting a little tired there, Old Faithful. Come on down. This is pretty close to the original carbon filament bulb that changed the world in 1879. The goal back then was to find an electric lamp that would give as much light as a gas flame. Today's bulb gives much more light for the same amount of electricity, and it's frosted to give a softer light. Here's a tiny light source giving off light in all directions. An object in its path blocks all of the light rays and casts a hard shadow. If the source is made bigger, rays of light can sneak around the object, softening its shadow. You see that same effect on cloudy days. It's considered very chic to have clear light bulbs in your house, but they should be in fixtures designed for them, or the shadows will drive you crazy. All things considered, a 50-cent light bulb isn't a bad deal. And next time someone tries to tell you that there's some sort of light bulb conspiracy, you know what to tell them.
Balderdash!
To heck with it. Yahoo!
We've all seen the Canadian Standards Association's logo on consumer products, from hockey helmets to hairdryers. That little symbol represents quite a place. The CSA is concerned with the safety of various products. They can't protect you from dropping your iron on your foot, but they can make sure it won't shock you or burst into flames if it does. Sometimes safety is directly related to performance. This hockey puck is about to be dropped a calibrated distance onto a face mask. Here, an air cannon is about to fire a racquetball into a pair of racquetball goggles. A piece of paper and carbon paper under the goggles registers the contact area.
And if you look inside here, it shows you that it didn't contact the eye.
Products are tested under the kinds of conditions they'll encounter out in the cruel world, from normal use to the extreme. The rating plate on your outdoor appliances has probably spent a few simulated years in a weatherometer to see if it's still readable. This lawnmower is going to be tested for electrical leakage to its metal parts after it's been left in the rain for a while. Motorized devices with carbon brushes are run for a while to build up internal carbon dust before the leakage test is done. Electrical devices are all tested under stressful conditions. This fan will have to operate for 18 days with its rotor jammed without causing a fire hazard. This vacuum cleaner not only has its rotor jammed, but it's covered, in case yours is under the drapes when it jams. Endurance testing is done under the same kind of loads that the device would normally have attached. A protective thermostat undergoing a cooling cycle. It'll be heated and cooled a lot of times. This is the lab for vehicle lighting and reflectors. Here's a projector and a sensor aimed at a bicycle reflector at the other end of the room. Electronic appliances are studied for potential problems. Then faults are introduced. What would happen if this diode failed? These guys get paid to break, then repair the same item over and over. A telephone usually operates with a couple of volts of audio signal, but lightning can induce up to 1,000 volts into the lines. This test ensures that your hearing won't be damaged if that happens.
Exactly 1,000 volts.
There are often extra things to anticipate. This flame test checks that a plastic cabinet won't support a fire if the unit that it houses causes one. If the appliance comes in different colors, each color of plastic has to be checked. This hard hat will not only protect you from falling objects, but it will withstand several thousand volts as well. This one passed. Here's a safety boot getting a high-tech hot foot. A product with the CSA logo is tested for safety. That doesn't mean that we can't hurt ourselves with them if we try hard enough. You can still cut your toes off with your lawnmower. You just won't get a shock at the same time. So you've had a hard day at the computer. You updated your books, written some letters, sent some invoices, paid some bills, learned a new programming language, calculated a few things, played some games. You know, you've only scratched the surface of personal computers. With some relatively simple software and hardware, you're ready to connect into the endless realm of telecommunications. Out there, somewhere, are hundreds of big systems that will search information for you, like browse through an encyclopedia, shop for a toaster, leave instant mail for anyone in North America, order and receive software for your machine, change your bank account, change someone else's bank account, start an international incident. This is all possible because all computers, no matter what their size or price, can exchange words in a form called ASCII. That's an acronymese for the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. ASCII is sort of Esperanto for computers. Now, because of ASCII, my little machine can speak to any other machine. All we have to do is hook them up. Heh. There are some considerations. The obvious way to hook a computer in Toronto to one in Toledo is with a phone line, because that network's already in place. But we have to take care of our little computer first. Now, because the interchange of information is standard among all machines, you have to throw all of your machine's personality out the window. Your machine might be capable of color, graphics, sound, and a lot of fancy tricks, but some other machine won't understand them. Hooking yourself to another computer is done in the most basic of ways with a thing called a terminal program. This one allows me to communicate and store the session on disk for reading or printing later. It also allows me to send things from my disk. Maybe a program I want to send someone or a letter I've already typed with my word processor. Now, terminal mode. First thing you notice about your machine under the control of the terminal program is that it behaves strangely. In this case, I can't even write on my own screen. The machine's dead. It's not actually. As I type the letter A, the terminal program is directing its ASCII code to a plug on the back in the coded ones and zeros that computers love. Internally, the computer deals with ones and zeros, something like this. This is ASCII for the word hello in 8-bit bytes, H-E-L-L-O. Now, to communicate over the phone line, the machinery has to send these parallel bytes serially. Let me send you some serial information. Ready? There. Now, I just indicated 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. But you just saw the light twice. So how can you tell how many zeros are in between? Timing. See, if you know how long I consider each digit to last, you can keep track of how many digits are there. I have to help you out a bit, though. Here's that 8-bit byte that represents the letter H. Now, the entire range of characters that ASCII sends can be represented by 7 bits of data. 7 bits can be any of 128 different patterns. Now, if they used 8 bits like this, all ASCII bytes would start with a 0. And when my digits start with a 0, you don't know when I started sending the digits. So, for communications, I add a 1 to the beginning of every character I send. It's not significantly part of the number or anything, it's just a signal that a character is coming. To eliminate any further iffiness, I also send you a 1 at the end of each character, and a bit that helps you confirm whether or not you got my transmission correctly. The two computers that are communicating have to agree on all of this in advance. So the terminal program allows you to adjust all of this extra coding. Most communications uses 1 start bit, 7 bits of data, 1 stop bit, and a parity bit. The parity bit is used to flag whether there's an odd or even number of 1s in the data bits. They can be used to tell if anything went wrong in the transmission. So, got the two computers ready to talk. Now we have to take care of the telephone connection. Phones, as you may have noticed, handle talking and singing, whistling sounds, not 1s and 0s. So, there's no point in fooling around. We're going to change the 1s and 0s into sounds. This is a modem. That's contraction talk for modulator-demodulator, or modulator-bimodulator. It plugs into the computer and it converts its 1s and 0s into little whistles. Now, we need two-way communication, so the modem's designed around 4 different sets of tones. 2 represent the 1s and 0s on the way out of my machine, and the lower set of tones are the 1s and 0s coming back. This is a pretty basic modem. The earlier models had a confusing switch labeled originate and receive. Modern modems just listen to the other modem and adjust themselves accordingly. It doesn't really matter which computer is sending which set of tones, as long as both modems know who's doing what. The computer answering the call can be the originator or the receiver. Modems that are fancier still will dial the phone themselves and answer it too. I think that's scary. Well, let's call someone. Now, I have an amplifier connected to the phone line so you can hear what the modems hear. I'm going to dial the call and wait for the other modem to answer the phone by sending out its tone. Then I'm going to enable mine. Now, this is a real number, not a 555 number. There's the other modem. Here's mine. Now, when I type, you're going to hear a chirping sound. That's the 2 tones I'm sending, switching back and forth, and the other machine responding. And now, my typing's coming on the screen. My characters are actually leaving the other modem, going across the phone line as tones, into the other machine, which is echoing the letters that I type back to me. That's why typing seems just a little bit weird in this terminal mode. What I type's traveled a long way to get to the screen. Have you heard enough modems now? Now, because the other computer's in charge of letting me see what I'm typing, it can choose what it wants to send back. Often on a system that requires a password, the other computer won't echo your password back to you so that someone looking over your shoulder can't read it. Now, I'm sending these characters out at a rate of 300 bits per second. That sounds fast, but the communication is a series of 1s and 0s, and it takes around 10 bits to send just one character. So I'm only really sending about 30 characters per second. 300 bits per second is known as 300 baud. Haven't got a clue why. 300 baud's fast enough for typing back and forth, but people who transfer whole pages of information have fancier modems that whiz along at 1200 baud. If you're calling a big system, it'll listen to you and automatically adjust itself to your baud rate. Hey, look, I'm getting some mail. Excuse me while I fix this guy's bank balance. Sometimes I like to do things on camera that I normally wouldn't have an excuse for doing. So when I needed the insides of a light bulb for the light bulb item, I decided it'd just be cute to break one right on camera. So the first thing I did was I broke one to make sure that it wouldn't smash the insides. Worked great. Then, of course, we recorded the item, and I smashed one in a bag. Worked great. But you see, we only have one camera here, and that means that when we finish an item, we have to go back and recreate all of the close-ups. Then editing makes it look as if we had more than one camera. Here's what happened when we went to shoot the close-up of the light bulb breaking.
Stand by. In 3, 2, 1, go. Nice ball. Don't make him like the...
Holy sh**. Now, of course, you notice that I've rotated it just a little bit in the bag in the stupid belief that maybe I hit a tough spot. Take 2.
Stand by. Hold it. And go.
Is this a gag? All right, is this a gag? Now, even though I'd put the bulb in the bag myself, there was a fleeting moment where I thought somebody had substituted one that was made out of stone. At this point, after 2 failures, the suggestions start to roll in from the crew, and then Peter the Grip will read to us from his book.
He's a little beauty, that one.
It's a new one, that's why. Maybe it's harder.
We busted its buddy already.
I like this letter. Yesterday I had a health examination. I am 100% in good health. My friend examined me. He is going to be a doctor. Love, Lisa.
And of course, when things are going wrong, you always start to run out of tape.
Stand by, we're going to run out of tape, and go.
Well, as I say in the business, there's always take 8. This bulb will never work in this town again.
Oh, one more shot.
One more shot. Here it goes.
Give her a good one, Dave.
Why do I feel like I have a piece of glass in my hand?
And go.
Of course, we couldn't cheer at that point because the cheering wouldn't have made any sense in the final item, and we had to hear the sound. Well, on the next episode of Acme, we're going to look at what electricity is, how the brakes in your car work, and we're going to take a little field trip to a glass bottle plant. With any luck, maybe the close-ups will work a little better.